So
Steve Bingham. Lovely. I mean, obviously, I know Chris really well, but Steve Bingham, I remember him vividly. Yeah, from
tell me about Steve. What do you remember him as a player and as a person?
well, I remember as being a lovely guy. We didn't play together for all that long.
Right.
He was in the first solo band that I ever had in 1971, and so he played on some of my second album, Ennismore.
Okay, so let's talk about this. David, for our younger viewers, this is what a record album looks like.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, that's called photography on the record. And yes, Steve played on "Pay Me Later" and "A Sign from Me to You."
Right.
He played on those. Those are his two favorite tracks on that record.
Well, I mean, he's a great player, and we toured together on the first ELO tour in the UK. I think there were some other bands on there, but anyway, ELO were headlining, and I think we were second on the bill, and it was really great fun. I think we played about 20 dates, and he's a really good player. But you know, I haven't seen him since the early 70s, but I just remember him as being a wonderful player.
Yeah, we actually talked to him in Bermondsey in the rehearsal studio. Gosh, I think it's Terminal Studios. And Chris, unfortunately, Chris was scheduled the earlier day, so we couldn't get Chris and Steve together. But we'll do that. We'll get back to London and we'll do that.
Excellent,
anyway, so.
Excellent.
It's so poignant that when the Zombies did reform, they had Jim Rodford in the bass chair, because when Rod saw the Mike Cotton sound, that's what turned him on to rock and roll.
Well, it was even, it's even a longer relationship with Rod and Jim than that. Rod is actually Jim's cousin.
Right, yes, yeah.
About 5 years older than Rod. And Jim was in the big local band at the time. So that would be like the late 50s. So they were called the Blue Tones, and early 60s. Right. They were called the Blue Tones. And one night, Jim managed to get Rod into one of the gigs they were playing, because at that point he would have been like 14 years old, and he loved it so much. And that's when he decided, I'm going to put a band together. It was Rod's idea to put a band together, and it all came from Jim Rodford, really did. And Rod he just asked people. There were a couple of people at his school. You know how he got the drummer, Hugh Grundy? They had an army unit at the school, and Hugh played the side drum when they were marching.
Oh, okay.
Rod thought he was the best of the side drum. Hugh had never played a drum kit in his life, but he approached Hugh. I don't think he even knew him, and he just said, you do the side drum pretty well. Do you want to be in a band? Paul Atkinson was playing in a folk club in the school, and Rod didn't know him, but he thought he was pretty good. Got him in. Then a guy in the next street to Rod was making a bass guitar in woodwork. He'd never played one, but he was making one. And so that got him in the band. And that guy who was making the bass guitar sat next to me at school. And we had to sit next to one another, because our school, it was a very strict school, and you had to sit in alphabetical order. Right. And his name was Paul Arnold, and I was Colin Blunstone. And he said to me, a mate of mine's putting a band together. No, he said to me, you've got a guitar, haven't you? And I thought, well, what's coming? What's coming? And I said, yeah, I've got a guitar. And he said, a mate of mine's putting a band together. Do you want to be in it? And that was my audition for the Zombies. So it was put together. It's chance again, isn't it?
Yes.
We did this first rehearsal. Jim Rodford organized the first rehearsal in a place called the Pioneer Club in St. Albans. And it's where the Blue Tones, the big local band, used to rehearse. And he managed to borrow all their amplifiers and a full drum kit for us to do our first rehearsal. He showed Hugh Grundy how to do bass drum and a hi-hat and hit the snare. Jim showed him how to do it. Right. And I always remember, I thought we sounded pretty good for a first time out. And many, many years later, Jim Rodford said to me that while I was thinking we sounded pretty good, he thought, no chance, no chance. It's funny how different people can view the same thing. They're very different opinions.